So we're going to have 4 positions for you as we talk about arms on the chest wall. One's going to be, well, first one's going to be mid because I'm already there. Then I'm going to show you what happens when you're working with a new student who doesn't have, hasn't done the Wright Balance Express. Real important for you to understand. Then we'll go to upper and then we'll go to lower to end the session. So we'll do the Wright Balance Express each time. But so chest wall position, where does it come from? Well, you've heard me say and written and read, this is one of my many copies of Hogan's book. You can see how well used it is. But this was published, I believe, in the 50s. So I began using this late 70s. And Hogan, in his book, you'll see has on page 49, if you have it, shows his arms or his hands and forearms are laced together. You'll notice the position on the chest wall. And I worked for years to create that myself. And fortunately, I am a lower core player, but I'm only worldwide, we're probably 15 to 20% max. You go to Germany and Europe, one of our pros there tells me because of the skiing and soccer, it's a lot of low core players. In this country, we probably have about 10%. Anyway, I'm one of those 10%. So when I grip the club, let's take a look at what it means on my chest wall. So my elbows are really what we're looking at, and that's where Hogan was as well. So if you see my left wrist is flat, notice the position of my arm here on my chest wall. So I can feel it right on the edge of my rib cage. And I can add knee flex, and now you can watch as we test these things, as we test the arms position on the chest wall, you need to use the sequence of motion that fits that core zone. So everything back together, and I'm good with this arms position, okay? If I simply move this arm position back to the edge, where this is more of an upper core position, and I add knee flex, and by the way, I'll tell you what, let me take these off, because you're not going to see it here. So I have tape on one finger. So I'm back to the chest wall here. Everything together. And you can tell how much rotation I have. Lead knee is going to go right to the ball. If I simply move this back to, I feel like I have a flat left wrist. I'm looking down, it's flat, but my arms position is off, and that's where I'm stuck. So arms position on your chest wall is going to have a lot to do with backswing and through swing. So if I'm in good shape here, meaning I have the correct angles, and I rotate back, and I rotate through, I'm good to go. If I drop this trail arm back, I still have full rotation in the backswing, but not the through swing. I get stuck right here. So another variable. So what is it that is creating these changes? We're back to the carrying angle, as you will see here. So if I did the Wright Balance Express at at black 4, I go to 155 degrees carrying angle. So you can see I'm 155, my carrying angle here. And if I set this forearm correctly, I'm going to show you this, but in the interest of time, probably won't repeat it for each core zone, but just know what angles are being set. So if this is correct, everything back together, what you'll notice is my upper arm is my carrying angle, okay? As soon as I move this arm and it's a different angle, I'm stuck. So this has to do with, and it's true on both sides. Not only is it true on both sides, I'll show you how we're going to set posture using this angle in just a moment. Now I've created that same angle in my shaft plane here. Okay, I've set it in the shaft plane, and you'll notice it's also down the shaft and up my forearm. So here we are with the carrying angle showing up numerous positions. Chest wall, shaft plane, shaft lean, which is what you just saw. It shows up absolutely everywhere. Now, in order to set my posture, make sure I stay at 155. In order to set my posture, I want arms on the chest wall in the correct position. Notice the shaft is parallel to the ground. And this is it. It's so very important. Now, as I go to the ground, my elbows stay attached to my chest wall. I'm going to set secondary. I'm going to set a lot now. I'm going to set ball position. I'm going to do this face on in just a moment. I'm going to set secondary tilt, and I'm going to set posture. So if I go to the ground, and if that's a good posture that I've set, everything back together, I'll have 90 degrees of rotation. I've set all my angles and I will have 90 degrees of rotation. And the key here is leaving the elbows attached to the right position on the chest wall, not just on the chest wall, to the correct position. Okay, arms are on the chest wall. Now, what happens, and I'll show you what happens in a moment when they aren't. Okay. So everything's going to go to the ground together. I'm going to set secondary tilt. So as I go down, I'm going to drop this right shoulder, lead hip goes high. Shaft is parallel to the ground. Okay, now shoulder rotation, if I'm in a good posture, is going to be not, you can see I'm well past 90 degrees. Note the lead knee is going right at the ball. So for a mid-court player, and players are going to vary, they're going to change because the carrying angle is different for everyone, as you've learned. We've covered, show you again, I had a Zoom call with a tour player last week. We were working on this, who said, you know, when I get set the way you want me to, mid-court player, that ball position's off my back foot. Yeah, it would be. But if you set, as you go down, secondary tilt, that ball position moves center forward as a mid-court player for me, which is really where I want it to be. So all it is leaving the elbows on the chest wall, okay? Going down, and you're easy now for me to test shoulder rotation. So let's do it wrong, just to give you an idea. And so I'm just going to get the club, and this is where you'll see many of your players. Notice everything is set here together. I'm going to go to the ground, and I'm stuck. I'm done right here. The other thing you'll notice too is that if I don't hold this club parallel to the ground, when I set posture, I get it a little bit up, okay? And I go to the ground, my shaft plane is too low. I take my right hand off. Your right hand, the center of the palm of the trail hand, should come back and cover that lead thumb. Like this. So my trail hand now comes, and this is how on the range when I was teaching in the years past, that's how I would check trail hand, because if my hips open, my trail hand, my shaft plane drops. If my hips close, my shaft plane rises. I've seen just the opposite with students. So, but the point is, if you don't have your angle set at address, and it can be very subtle. I'm just checking my grip here. So let's say I'm ready to go to the ground, but notice I have a little spine angle here. As I'm working, I'm watching, look at my grip, getting everything set. I'm hunched forward, but the shaft should look pretty parallel to the ground. I go to the ground, I've created a low shaft plane simply by not standing tall. I have to be very tall when I start to set this. Little side tilt as I go, secondary tilt, take my right hand off, and that trail hand is going to come right over. Let's take a look though at what happens to shoulder rotation when the angles are off. So to get my posture set, I can feel my balance is already off at ground level. I go into my setup. Everything looks like it should feel pretty good. My shaft plane is low and I'm stuck. I can't turn back. So setting these angles, if you saw on the video increasing with Jeff Shaw, he picked up 20 yards with a 9-iron. Simply by changing how he set his posture. Now Jeff's had neck surgery, back surgery, and he was thinking, and you'll see that, you'll hear that on the video, that he thought he was protecting his back, when in fact he was creating more stress. So to get maximum rotation, you're setting the carrying angle throughout, you're setting the power spot, you're setting secondary tilt, you're getting your ball position, and I failed to mention, you're getting distance from the ball as well. So that distance it's telling you exactly what distance from the ball you need to be. And we've all seen our students who are either out here or in here, and setting that posture correctly, getting the arms positioned on the chest wall. I won't say it's not hard to do. I mean, I've done it for so many years, working on a variety of things with students. So we can thank Hogan for that. He gave us the arms position on the chest wall. He really felt it was tied together. And I've done the same thing most of you have done, and that's we teach what we do. And you've heard me say before that I taught so many students, get those arms in here. In fact, that's where the carrying angle came from. Mid to late 90s. Okay, anyway, Mickey and I were on the range, and here I am in the 90s teaching Hogan. And Mickey's an upper core player. And I said, Mickey, get your elbows up. You can see your students won't be able to do this. As a low core player, I can actually touch my elbows together on my chest wall. And I said, Mickey, get your arms up on your chest wall. And he got him to about here, and he said, I can't do that, but that's the reverse of the carrying angle. And that's when I said, what's the carrying angle? And here we are today, about 30 years later, really showing that carrying angle showing up everywhere.